Riley getting a start today instead of Aaron Busher. We'll talk more about that. Becky Hammon, Vicki Johnson, the veteran guards. And for the home team, Detroit with Katie Smith going nuts in this series. 25 and 22 in the first two games. Kara Braxton inside, Taj McWilliams-Franklin looking for her first title. Elaine Powell and Deanna Nolan. Holly Rowe, Heather Cox there with us. We'll start with Holly Rowe. Taj McWilliams-Franklin, almost 38 years old. Holly looking for that first title.
Well, she is, and she's trying to take a little bit different approach tonight. She said the first time she ever played in the finals, she was too geeked up, too excited. She said, this is the year of calm. I have to believe that I'm where I'm supposed to be. We as a team are where we're supposed to be. And she said, although it will mean the world to me, I have to stay calm and focused tonight and just refuse to accept anything else than a championship. And now for more in San Antonio, here's Heather Cox.
Holly, Becky Hammon for San Antonio hasn't won a championship either. The difference, she knows that if things don't turn around in a hurry, her dream could slip away tonight. After being double and triple teamed the majority of the series, Becky admitted to me that everything's been a struggle, saying, I know if I'm covered, I need to find ways to help my teammates be successful. We need to recognize at times we're playing 4-on-3 because all the double teams, and someone has to step up and knock down a shot. Becky knows no team has ever come back from an 0-2 deficit to win the title, but Terry, she said it's not in our DNA to quit. If any team can do it, it's my team.
No team has ever swept the best-of-5 series in the finals either, so just about set to go. What do you think about the move from Dan Hughes to insert Ruth Riley in the starting lineup instead of Erin Busher?
I like it. Erin Busher has struggled. She's been unwilling to take shots. And quite frankly, Ruth Riley already has 2 championships. Erin Busher's numbers are much better as a reserve than as a starter. Some players just perform better coming off the bench. Riley
had 3 starts during the regular season. So we're underway here on the campus of Eastern Michigan. And Elaine Powell and the shot controlling the opening tip. Sophia Young matched up with Katie Smith, and they've got to find some way to slow down Smith. Braxton, the early miss, cleared by Waters. And Hammon giving it up right away to Vicki Johnson, who will run the point and allow Hammon to come off of screens. Deanna Nolan matched up with Hammon. Swing it low to Riley, who's not shy about taking that first shot.
She is, like all of the post players from San Antonio, non-traditional in her willingness and ability to step away and hit 15-footers.
The steal by Johnson. She's got Young on her wing. Good look to Sophia, but the block underneath by Taj. Another try and another bucket for San Antonio.
All expectations are off San Antonio. There's not the way that they were the #1 seed, that they performed better than anyone else during the regular season. There's nothing left for them to lose. They can play relaxed in this ballgame.
Jumper taken away by Young as they try to get it low to Braxton. One-on-one with Ruth Riley. Powell. Taj not quite ready for the pass, and Waters with the clear. The other aspect for San Antonio, you come in here trying not to get embarrassed, and they have a lot of pride. No one wants to get swept 3 straight games, and quite frankly, even though they made it close in both games 1 and 2, Detroit is dominated.
There's no question. It feels like San Antonio has been completely overmatched, and I don't mean physically, Terry. I mean mentally.
Smith the rebound. Here come the shot. See if they can get it out and run. Braxton stops in the lane. 1 and done for the Shock so far. And they're still on their feet here in Eastern Michigan, waiting for that first bucket from Detroit. Down low, the drive and the foul on Katie Smith, and that's her first. What's your sense, other than being very sad that this may indeed be the last game together for you and I this year, what's your sense of what we're going to see today from the Shock and from Bill Laimbeer?
Well, I think for the Shock, what you've prepared for is a San Antonio team that is desperate to get out to a good start. So they take this possession by possession, understanding there will be runs by San Antonio in this game. Just keep your composure.
Waters, good ball movement. Good movement across the floor. That's another thing that Dan Hughes said. We've got to make them guard us all over the floor and create some space.
You and I have talked about the fact that their best opportunity to win is one in transition. And in a half-court set, get the Detroit defenders moving. That plays to your strengths.
Nolan, and they're 0 for 4 to start the game. Even though you come home to Detroit, this is about a 25-mile ride from where they normally are, at least. And a foul at the other end. First foul on Sophia Young, the offensive foul.
Here's some of the movement we're talking about. Look at the activity, the slip by Ann Waters, and this is one of their primary options, that high-low circumstance. Typically, Terry, you see the reverse of those situations where it's Waters on the box and Sophia coming up high. So some adjustments being made by San Antonio.
Nolan under pressure and buys it. And finally, they can sit down here.
Now, it will not shock me if she goes off for about 25. She has not played terrific, well, I shouldn't say terrific basketball because she's defended great. She's not scored the way we're used to seeing Nolan score.
Haven't really needed her to score, though. And Juan Johnson to the line. Elaine Powell a little bit late. And the foul.
Yeah, what do you notice about San Antonio? All the moves are toward the basket. This is a nice aggressive move by Ann Waters toward the basket. Feels the double, kicks to the weak side, and Vicki Johnson goes right at the rim.
Not necessarily drawing something up on a chalkboard for Dan Hughes. It's getting them to play as they play during the regular season.
Not necessarily about the X's and O's, but how you go about your business.
And the walking violation on Hammond. As Katie Smith came out to check her. Dan Hughes, one of the best, universally regarded as one of the best in this league, and had 24 wins during the regular season. There's his playoff record. But he took over this franchise at a time when it was very low and has built it single-handedly to this point.
Had to convince quality players to come to San Antonio when there didn't look like a lot of hope for playoff and championship experience to come.
Nolan in and out. Kelly Schumacher has come off the bench, and there's the follow.
Now that's a bonus. Kelly Schumacher has been terrific defensively for Detroit, but you don't expect her to get you double digits.
Schumacher in her 8th year from UConn. Hammond around the screen, runs into 3 white jerseys, nowhere to go. Wanted a call. Smith, the backup 3. How good has Katie Smith been in this series?
Well, if you say it's about how you're competing, Carolyn Peck touched on this in the pregame show. She has competed with championship heart, and she has been the one to set the tone for this team.
Johnson, the crossover, and she's taking advantage of Powell right now. She's getting the better end of that matchup.
Yeah, VJ is the consummate pro. Been in the league as long as any player, one of 5 to have been there since the inaugural season. She will not go quietly.
Smith with that last 3 is now 7 of 13 beyond the arc in the series. No one else has hit a 3-pointer for Detroit yet in the series. Powell the follow, and the reach-in foul underneath on Hammond.
Well, your MVP to this point in this series has been Katie Smith. 25 in game 1, 22 in game 2. Recognizing I've got a smaller defender on me, I'm simply going to bide my time until I can get into my shooting motion. And this is where Detroit will hurt you. 12-2 in second chance points in game 2, and that's a guard going after it inside.
And they do have guards that will take you down low, rebound the basketball, back you in on the block. This is a physical team. Early momentum out of the gate to San Antonio, but now we're tied at 10.
Katie Smith is checking Ruth Riley right now.
The double on Waters. Smith came over to help. Foul on Riley. Over the back. Back in a minute. Got the coaches wired for sound this afternoon. Aaron Busher off the bench for Dan Hughes. I talked to her this afternoon. I said, what do you think? A little more offensive-minded? She laughed. She said, I think so. 0 for 3 from 3-point range in game 2, and really didn't even want to look at the basket.
That's exactly right, Terry. Just refused to be an option offensively. I know she doesn't think of herself as an offensive player, but you have to be a threat. If you're on the floor, you have to be a threat.
Young over Alexis Hornbuckle, who's come off of Bill Lambier's bench. Here comes Smith. Nolan looking for a screen. It doesn't come, so they clear it out. One-on-one with Hammond to Schumacher. Other than Smith, still haven't had anyone else hit a 3 in the series. Tipped away. That was right off the leg of McWilliams Franklin.
I think Michael Price thought she got it with her hand.
Hornbuckle Pause to the left hand. And another chance.
Yeah, multiple opportunities. Detroit has established this dynasty and dominated the WNBA's Eastern Conference with its ability to rebound the basketball. They pride themselves on it.
Third straight year to the finals. They won it back in 2003 and also won it in 2006. Wipe off the shot, a whistle before that. And a foul inside on Erin Busher, her first, and the team's fourth. Johnson breaking it down, the early advantage over Elaine Powell. Detroit coming right back, though. Game 3, we're tied. The landmark here in Ypsilanti as we play on the campus of Eastern Michigan. If there is a Game 4, it will go back to the Palace tomorrow. Tied up at 10. We check our Adidas game summary. And you look back, 69-61. San Antonio was down 19-2 in that game. They came back. They actually led in the second half at one point.
Look at that bottom line. 26-8 points in the paint already. Detroit has 4 offensive rebounds in this game. Half of their 10 points have come off second chance opportunities. You simply must compete with them physically if you're going to compete with them in the outcome of the game.
We focus a lot on Becky Hammon, as do opposing defenses, but Sophia Young was a first-team All-WNBA player this year. She was 5 for 18 in that game. Now, they've got to get more production out of her as well. Riley with the block on Braxton. Schumacher over the back of Sophia Young. First foul on Kelly Schumacher, and the third on the team.
What do you always say to me? You always say stars have to be stars.
You keep doing the crap like that. Let's go.
That's a reference to Kara Braxton, I believe, because Kara Braxton is 6'6", 190 pounds, and there should be no one who physically is able to match with her from San Antonio.
Young from 16 feet rattles it home, and so Sophia starting to go offensively. And Kara Braxton, there are times when she'll disappear from games.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's what he was referencing, but if I was Bill Laimbeer, that's what I'd be referencing. She should miss no chippies. The worst Kara Braxton should come away with is free throws.
There's the matchup with Busher on Nolan inside to Braxton and changed by Riley. So we'll see if Bill Laimbeer goes to his bench. He's not at all happy with Kara. Busher looks to shoot right away off the back of the rim. But a positive sign as Helen Darling comes in the game now. She's been out with that strained calf, and so Dan Hughes more of a bench in this game. Riley, long rebound.
What Helen Darling can give you if she's physically able is a small, tough, physical defender who can get up underneath you. We'll see how effective she can be.
And a veteran in her 8th year from Penn State. If they want to run to create opportunities, got to have some bench there to go to fresh bodies. Braxton, another miss. Tipped out. Stays here with the shot. Lynette Pearson with that torn labrum did play in game 2, did not play in game 1. Holly, what do you know?
She started out 1 for 5. You saw her just bobbling the ball right there, not able to contain it. When she came to the bench, her teammate got in her face and told her to relax, calm down. Even Bill Laimbeer gave her a big smile, said take a deep breath. Now just go out and be an assassin. They're trying to get Nolan back to herself.
So Deanna, numbers-wise, not putting up the same as we're used to. Detroit's missed its last 9 shots now. Is it what San Antonio's doing, or is it Detroit?
No, I think they're getting the kinds of shots they want. You've had some point-blank misses inside from your post players. This is not necessarily San Antonio. This is just missed shots by Detroit.
Darling matched up with Smith, and here's Busher on Nolan. Threw it right to Becky Hammon. Great anticipation. Hammon chased by Smith. The scoop. Good job defensively by Katie Smith. Tipped out, it'll stay at this end.
Just doesn't give up on a play. You want to talk about a player who thinks that every possession is important? That's Katie Smith. Just doesn't give up. Gets stripped, or excuse me, steps in the passing lane, but watch this challenge. Without fouling, you're just trying to make that a tough shot.
Inside the Waters, who's had a good start. She thought she was fouled, but she gives San Antonio a 4-point lead.
It's that corner of the window from the perfect angle. Just want to touch that right corner of that square behind the basket if you're a post player at that angle.
Good show by Waters on the screen to stop Nolan. Here's Lynette Pearson in the lane. Does get the roll. Finally, they get something to go down.
She is their energy, and believe me, that shoulder hurts when she puts up a shot.
Alexis Hornbuckle picking up her first and the team's fourth. Taj McWilliams-Franklin coming back in. Think about what this would mean to a Taj McWilliams-Franklin, who's almost 38 years old. She's in her 10th year, has yet to win a title, playing with the team and a number of teammates who've won not one but two.
She's been to 2 finals, so she knows what it's like to be here.
Mother of 2, her youngest kindergarten age, and she will be away from her to go play in Turkey as soon as this season's over. Helen Darling, that's her foot on the line. It's a deuce, but giving them an outside look, and Dan Hughes has been sorely missing that. Pearson straight down the lane.
She has done such a terrific job in a Detroit uniform of playing to her strengths. That's it. She's a versatile 3-4 who can use the dribble, has to use her speed, Terry, to be successful.
McWilliams-Franklin can knock that down. We saw her do that in the first game. She had 24 points in the opening game of this series. Going to hear from Dan Hughes in a few moments. Last 25 seconds of the first. Turnover back to the shot. One of the things keeping Detroit in this and keeping them even, 5 turnovers already.
So 5 turnovers gives them more possessions, and their offensive rebounding gives them more possessions. 2 things you don't want to give to a championship team.
Pearson, inside out of control. The offensive foul on Flannette Pearson.
She's already into her up in the air shooting motion when she slid in, okay? She's already going up. Get up, get up.
4.1 to work with. Darling lets it go at half court. Nope. Good first quarter, though. Tied up at 16. It's game 3 of the WNBA Finals, and the coaches both know this could be it.
We're now joined by San Antonio head coach Dan Hughes. And coach, for the first time in the entire playoffs, you started Ruth Riley in this game. Have you been happy with the results, and what were you looking for?
Yeah, I thought it gave us pretty good rhythm offensively. You know, I mean, I felt pretty good. I thought a couple things defensively where we didn't close out real well and keep Pearson in front of us and didn't get on the glass. But offensively, I felt pretty good about the flow. I thought she did a good job of giving us a spacer on the floor that we could play to.
One of your primary offensive options, Sophia Young, just 5 of 18 in game 2. How can you get her better looks in this game?
I think it's important that we're able to get her in movement on a catch in the basket area. If she's stationary, their size is a little bit of a factor. If we're in movement of cutting or screening, she'll finish because of her quickness.
Coach, thank you.
All right, Heather, thank you. And you mentioned the rebounding as Becky Hammond gets a rest to open up this second quarter. Detroit with 5 offensive rebounds, but San Antonio did hold the shock to just 30% from the floor in that first quarter.
Yeah, and if they hadn't turned it over 5 times and given Detroit 7 points off that, there would be an advantage for San Antonio.
Bill Lambier making the call, but the officials haven't yet. And it is Detroit basketball. Not the way you want to open up.
You had a look at it that Bush hit it last.
You had a look too, right?
Yeah.
Say, why didn't you make the call then? If you had a look too. Well, they give it right back. Smith turns it over on the palm.
Were you suggesting that was by design?
Was not a makeup. No, she actually did it. I saw it.
No such thing.
Oh, yeah, right. Official line. Opening moments of the second quarter here in game 3.
Well, after going the entire first quarter in man-to-man, Detroit comes out here in the second period in a zone.
Darling has already knocked one down. Oh, nice move. That's what you think about what they've been missing and why they were a different team in the first 2 games. I'm not saying it's all Helen Darling, but they certainly missed that.
I don't think there's any question. You were asking Becky Hammond to bring it up the floor, generate offense for herself and others. Helen Darling gives you a couple of things. That perimeter shot, but that as well. She's a tough-minded, focused defender.
Busher to the deep corner underneath the foul on Lynette Pearson, trying to gain position on Ruth Riley. And for Lynette, that is her second. So game 3 today, game 4 tomorrow in the Palace, if necessary.
And they stay in that zone. Lynette was a little confused.
Smith swinging at the hornbuckle. Open is Nolan.
Yeah, to make you pay for that every time, and that is a 3. So someone other than Katie Smith getting involved from beyond the arc.
Terrific patience. Coaches love that. I mean, the extra pass, ball reversed from side to side. It was terrific spacing. Just Detroit has executed beautifully on the offensive end throughout the series.
First lead of the game for Detroit. Waters taking a look at the shot clock. It's under 5. Spins on Smith and the body called on Katie.
That's Katie Smith checking a center, by the way. But there's the extra pass. They swing it from one side to the other. That originated on the right-hand side of the floor. Hornbuckle kicks it to the middle of the floor. Taj, an exceptional passer out of the post.
I got a question for you, and I'm going to stump you, by the way, in a moment.
Right.
Remind me, okay?
Okay.
5th point of the game for Ann Waters. And with a win today, San Antonio can force a game 4 tomorrow back in the Palace, 7:30 Eastern time. And if they would win that, we'd go back to San Antonio, have a couple of days off, and play game 5 at 7:30 Eastern Thursday night. So, all right, what's the one visual similarity between the AT&T Center and the Convocation Center here on the campus of Eastern Michigan?
I'm not sure.
It's inside the building, too.
Okay.
All right, think about it.
I will.
It's something you can see. Hornbuckle. Tipped up by Braxton, kept alive, but it starts the break for San Antonio. It was tipped, so Becky able to get it back. Riley stops over Taj. Nolan high into the air. That's almost redundant. Most of the things she does are high in the air. Braxton fighting, wanting it on the block. There's the double. Throws it. So Kara Braxton is yet to show up.
Yeah. And this is, and right away, Bill has to sub her out. And he understands this about Kara Braxton. Typically, or what we've seen in games 1 and games 2, they've looked to establish Kara early, because if you engage her mind, then her physical skills come with the mind. But if you don't, this is what you get. A mindless turnover in a championship series, and he knows he's got to take her out and get Kelly Schumacher in.
Rick Mahorn saying, all right, settle down, settle down.
That's an assistant coach's job right there. That was terrific support by Rick Mahorn, because he can't afford to have Bill Lambier lose Kara Braxton. That's coaching. That's a team over there.
Waters, good defense. Offensive rebound, though, to Riley, who's made a nice contribution with the start. She's on the floor with Busher. Quick step by Hammond and the scoop. No, didn't really need to scoop it.
I think she's completely out of rhythm, because she's been such the focal point that they haven't let that young woman feel comfortable yet. And Becky Hammond is still, I think, feeling the effects of game 1 and game 2.
Tells us she's not frustrated. She's just frustrated that the team hasn't played like she's overall. She includes herself in that. And no communication. The 4th turnover already this quarter for Detroit.
Yeah, they just do not look sharp. And this is, look at Elaine Powell trying to get it together with her team.
Timeout. San Antonio. Bill Lambier's not happy. Silver Stars on the road trying to force a game 4 with a 1-point lead. 2019 Silver Stars on the road with the lead. 6:50 left here in the second. A reminder, this season Adidas gave fans the opportunity to design a shooting shirt to be worn on court by WNBA players as part of the Adidas WNBA I Design competition. To view all winning designs or to purchase a t-shirt of the winning finals design, visit WNBA.com/iDesign and WNBAstore.com. I haven't seen yours yet.
I want one. Those are sweet.
You thinking about my question, my quiz?
Yeah.
Still thinking, aren't you? The reach-in foul on Schumacher. She didn't think she got it. Kelly's second. It is a player whose jersey is retired, who happens to be, I'll give you another hint. He can finger roll.
Oh, the Iceman Comet, Carolyn Peck's favorite.
There you go. The early 70s here at Eastern Michigan, and then, of course, the great career with San Antonio.
I thought it had to do with memorable landmarks outside the building, but then you threw me when you said inside.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You're 0 for 1. I'll have much more to come. McWilliams, Franklin off balance. That's a tough shot. Good defense. And more of the shots by the Shock in this game so far have been difficult shots.
Yeah. Better contest right there. This should be a hold.
And it is. Holly, what'd you hear in the huddle?
Well, during that last timeout, Rick Mahorn, like a good assistant Doris was talking about, pulled his team aside and said, look, we are in a disarray right now. We are out there playing like individuals. We're doing individual stuff. He said, we're here because we're a good team. We want you to pull it together right now, play as a group, and put all that individual, you know what, on the back burner.
4th team foul on Detroit this quarter. Here's Johnson along the baseline. Good kick, but she stepped on that baseline. Speaking of Bill Laimbeer and Rick Mahorn, and we talked about it the other night, though. Some people are surprised that he hasn't gotten a chance in the NBA yet. Do you see that coming?
Well, I think for him, one of the questions that has to be asked is why, when you've won 2 championships with the Pistons, is your own organization not giving you an opportunity? We believe he's a terrific coach. You and I have spoken about this over and over. Do I believe he's earned a chance based on what he's been able to achieve here? Yes, I do, Terry. But I wonder sometimes if his persona does not hurt him. He is not the most likable guy as a player. And there are times where he challenges people maybe in fashions that they don't like, Terry. So I wonder if that's having an impact.
Vicki Johnson, the 18-footer along the baseline, and to other teams around the league, I mean, he had a huge reputation. Bill Laimbeer, that's all you have to say. And so that reputation certainly is carried over to today. But the man can absolutely coach.
He can coach, and I believe he's earned his opportunity. Now, one of the things you have to wonder is the perception of the WNBA that it's not a good training ground, not a good proving ground for the NBA. Here's what I believe Bill Laimbeer would do if he were given an opportunity. I think his approach would change in the NBA because I believe Bill Laimbeer is a smart man, and I believe he understands that coaching women is an entirely different thing than coaching an NBA player.
Yep.
The salary disparity makes it as such. What does Greg Popovich say about Tim Duncan? He's allowed me to coach him. The dynamic is entirely different.
Second foul on Elaine Powell, the 5th team foul. So Becky Hammond at the line. 26 playoff wins. How about Michael Cooper right behind him with a couple of titles?
Yeah. Well, and he had his opportunity briefly in the NBA, but did it outside of the Los Angeles Laker organization, which is an interesting situation.
1-point lead for San Antonio. Riley playing good defense for San Antonio. She's been a big difference in this game. Hornbuckle in and out. Powell to Johnson, and the foul, I believe, on Nolan. Nope, we'll see. And it is Nolan. Yep, 16 foul. They're shooting.
Will you watch over the back? 7.
I have a sense, watching this league develop, and you and I have done this for a while now, a number of years, watching the WNBA. I think this coaching in this league is more like the NBA by leaps and bounds than it was when it started. It has become more and more like the NBA.
There is absolutely no question.
We've been in the penalty once this series. Okay? In the 4th quarter.
Yeah, he's sending a message about the foul disparity. The fact of the matter is the league made the appropriate rules changes at the appropriate time, splitting it to 4 quarters, getting the 8-second backcourt rule. It has progressed to the point where individual matchups are important because the physical gifts of women are now having an impact and a determination on the outcome of games.
Nolan in and out. Can't believe it didn't go down. Hammond stops and gets the 3. Becky Hammond And it's a 5-point lead for San Antonio.
They're much more relaxed. The pace, the feel that you're getting from San Antonio is so drastically different than 1 and 2. I also think that has to do with Detroit. There's no sense of urgency here. You always have to wonder, when Detroit is prosperous, are they going to lose their focus? They're up 2-0. They know they've got 2 here at home. They're not as locked in. And where is Katie Smith?
Taj, foot on the line, but she can shoot it. Same spot as a moment ago. It's a 3-point game. You get on the road sometimes and you're more focused too. You're away from family, from friends. You're together as a team. Restaurant, bus, shoot around. Johnson, literally a turnaround. Nolan, Tweedy, the floater, gets the roll.
And folks, that's on a bad ankle and a bad toe. And even with those 2 things, she's still one of the best pure athletes you'll ever see.
Waters turnaround off the glass. That's pretty.
She has come so far from the 19-year-old rookie that was the #1 overall selection of Cleveland. Just so much stronger and better equipped to deal with the physical nature of this game.
6th year from Belgium. Took the last 2 years off, at least in terms of the WNBA. Clears the rebound and gets it to Hammond. Even a more confident look as they bring the ball up and spread the floor. Vicki Johnson behind the screen. Hello.
Yeah, she looks good. And she's taken her opportunities when they've been given.
Timeout. Shock. 2 of the best at the guard spot going at it here in game 3. So far, San Antonio with the edge on the road.
Becky Hammond looks like Becky Hammond here in transition. The stop and pop. They don't get anywhere close enough to her to challenge that shot. One of the best pure athletes coming right at you. Tweedy, the floater.
Antonio looks much better than they have all series. Why, Carolyn?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the post play. The inside players for San Antonio are outscoring Detroit's players 12-4.
And it's also the outside shooting. Becky Hammond and VJ, 13 points, 47% shooting percentage.
All right, we'll have serious stuff coming up on the IHOP halftime report, as well as a look at Taj McWilliams-Franklin's many hairstyles over the years. All that and more coming up, Terry.
All right, Pam, thank you. So San Antonio with the, I'll stay away from the hairstyle. I'll let you guys handle that. 31-26, the lead. How about Katie Smith? She played 40 minutes in each of the first 2 games. She's played a little more than 11 minutes now, so she's been out a while.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by it. I know she has 2 fouls, but she's more than capable of managing her defense without fouling, Terry. But again, Bill Laimbeer is the master at game management. He may just want, they're close enough that this is a game, regardless of what we do in the last 2 minutes. He might just want to make sure she's prepared for half number 2.
And Waters called for the foul on Taj McWilliams-Franklin. Waters has been a big part of this surge here in the first half for San Antonio. The numbers play it out. 8.6 assists or 6 rebounds and 3 assists.
Yeah, you are speaking to exactly what Carolyn Peck just talked about. Thought she hit the nail on the head. Braxton has been a non-factor, which you know some nights she simply is.
Yet to show up. In the game right now, guarded by Young. Fade away by Nolan. That was a tough shot over Riley. That was a first-team foul here in the second, by the way, on San Antonio. And this is the, well, they're over the limit already, is Detroit. Second foul on Deanna Nolan. And there is Smith on the bench. Of course, if you're Bill Laimbeer, too, you're thinking, all right, as long as we keep it right, maybe a 3-point game, 4-point game, and then I bring her back in, having rested her in the second. Ooh, a miss by Hammond. That doesn't happen. Monday Night Football returns. 2 of the most electrifying players in the backfield. Adrian Peterson leading the way for the Vikings. Reggie Bush for the Saints. 8:30 Eastern time coverage kicking off 7 Eastern. Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS.
If just one of those 2 guys was playing, I'd want to watch.
Yeah, right?
You got to both in the same game.
Pearson and Smith on the sideline. 12-4 run by San Antonio after Detroit led 22-20. Braxton, way off. Cherise Sam.
Blocked by Waters.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That is 6'6", whose frame is bigger than Ann Waters. Her shoulder should be in Ann Waters, either her chest or her mouth. I would give, if I had Carol Braxton's frame, I would make Ann Waters feel me. Instead, she shoots away from the rim. That would drive me insane if I was that coaching staff. Absolutely insane.
She does drive Bill Laimbeer insane. Braxton finally gets one, but off the dish from Hornbuckle. We saw it happen in the Indiana series in Game 2 after Detroit had blown Indiana away in Indiana in Game 1, and they came out and were as flat as can be, and especially Braxton. Kara with the rebound. Nolan with the miss, a tough shot, but she just ran right by everybody.
Great hustle by Hornbuckle. There should never be a time where Carol Braxton catches it on the post, Terry, with a defender around her where there isn't contact, because she needs to initiate it.
Alexis with the miss, a little extra from Hammond at the end just to make her think. Look at these two isolated. Young. Got it. Set up by Becky Hammond. And a 6-point lead for the Silver Stars.
And I would not say a word about Carol Braxton if she didn't have the physical gift she has, Terry. I mean, she's just that good a player. She chose to be. She could be first team all WNBA.
Detroit's missed 8 of their last 9. Looking for something positive before the break. The crossover by Nolan. Braxton the follow. Yeah, it counts.
She's frustrated with herself. Look at her. She made that shot, put her head down. I think she knows she could play better.
She also knows she's going to hear from Bill Laimbeer in the locker room in a few moments.
The explosion by Deanna. You heard this crowd gasp at that crossover. Sophia Young, you're not going to out-jump her. Carol Braxton's got too much size.
Yeah, it should count, too. It's about 0.3. They're going to take a look at it, but that will count. So it is a 4-point lead for the Silver Stars. Heather?
Thanks so much. Joined by Vicki Johnson. Now, Vicki, Becky Hammond told the team before the game, be confident and don't hesitate. Easier said than done. How have you guys done it in hostile territory?
Well, we have no other choice. You know, we watched the last 2 games. When the ball game was close, you know, we just rush our shots. We got to really take our time and execute on offense and play great defense and rebound the ball.
We've seen you bring the ball up at point. What other things are you able to do to help take some of the pressure off of Becky Hammond?
Shoot the ball.
Yeah.
You know, be a threat. Every time I get the ball, be aggressive and make them guard me.
So far, so good. Well done, VJ.
And it was well done. She really got them rolling early in this game. She was aggressive. And San Antonio, with nothing left to lose, that's how they've looked at this. They're down 2-0, trying to steal one and keep this series alive. The IHOP halftime report with the studio coming up next.
Job in transition. And we're fighting in the right areas. We're congesting in the right areas. We've just got to finish plays and really be committed to rebound the basketball.
This is a chance. It doesn't come around very often, okay? In the first 5 minutes, let's go out there. You have to lock in. You have to focus. Go take the game.
And the thing is, for Bill Laimbeer, he's looking at his 2 star guards. I mean, Katie Smith, I know she had the 2 fouls, but 1 of 3 from the floor. She had 25 and 22 in the first 2 games. Nolan hasn't been herself, and yet they're only down 4.
Yeah, I mean, they're right in the ball game. You are in the driver's seat if you're Detroit. Put a little pressure on them, but what did he address? Lock in, focus. It's never about the physical with Detroit. It's about the mental.
And the opportunity that doesn't come around very often. Chance to close it out here in Game 3, be the first team to sweep in a best-of-5 finals. Holly Rowe, what do you know?
Well, guys, you talked about Deanna Nolan, 3 for 12 in the first half. She's under the weather. There's been a cold going around this Detroit Shock team. She said she felt fine before the game, but in that first half, it really kicked in. I asked her at halftime, and she said, I'm not feeling great right now. She's sucking on a lozenge, a little limited.
All right, we'll keep an eye on her. Sophia Young, the elbow jump shot, rattles home, and it's a 6-point lead. You mentioned it, and there is a saying, hesitation kills all athletes, and it killed San Antonio in the first 2 games.
Yeah, but they did too much thinking. The Detroit game plan was sensational. Their defense was outstanding.
Braxton, tough shot over Riley. Taj McWilliams-Franklin with the follow.
That's 15 second chance points off of 11 offensive rebounds, and they've got 11 second chance, 13 second chance points. They're just doing what Detroit does, Terry, and that's dominate the backboards and win with their ability to dominate that paint area.
Young should be able to use her quickness over Taj, and Smith a little late getting over.
Remember what Dan Hughes said to Heather Cox in the interview after period 1? He said when Sophia is getting the ball in movement because she's undersized, then she can be successful. 2 trips where she's getting it in movement and she's successful.
And in double figures with 10. Smith to Nolan. They work together this time. Braxton fights for the offensive rebound and the putback.
Nice job by Braxton. I'm going to give her props on that one. That was nice. And again, I still would like to see her command some physical contact.
Okay, now you're going to criticize her because she just picked up the offensive
No,
foul?
I'm not going to criticize her. I'm going to cut her some slack because I have been after her. But I almost want this to be an N1, Terry. I almost want her to initiate more contact with Ruth because that would have been a foul on Ruth. In that instance, if you're aggressive, the officials will give you the benefit of the doubt.
Not the offensive, but fighting around the screen. Wild miss by Hammond. When she's off, she seems to be quick on the trigger.
Yes.
Rushing things. Twin Towers, Riley tipping it to Waters. Dan Hughes talking about the transition game at half. Did a nice job in transition, he told his team, and they look to run there.
Good switch by Katie Smith.
Waters the backup. No.
Good defense by Braxton. Backed off, but was still spaced enough, Terry, where she could challenge the shot.
Crossover by Nolan. Almost thought the dunk was coming.
Yeah.
Deanna, who goes 5'9", has as quick a first step as anyone in the league.
There's not a basketball fan, regardless of gender, who wouldn't enjoy watching Deanna Nolan play.
Young wants it on the block this time. Foul on Taj. It's her second foul. And the second team foul. So they look to get it to Young out of the perimeter, in movement, and this time down on the block. But at the other end, this is just pretty.
Crossover, pretty.
Cheryl Ford out with the injury. These two teams met twice during the regular season. San Antonio winning both of those matchups, but McWilliams-Franklin not with the team for either one, and Ford not with the team for the second matchup.
Yeah, I like the way she's been actively involved, despite the fact that she's not playing. That's great teammate skills by Cheryl Ford. How about Katie Smith? She's checked Ruth Riley and Waters, and in that possession, Sophia Young.
That entire Detroit bench has been standing the whole second half. Hammond with her foot on the line. Fresh shot clock. Nolan inviting her to go to her left. Tipped out by Waters. It'll be Detroit basketball.
Great defense. Funnel into help.
And talking to Bill Lambier and Rick Mahorn and the players from the Shock, they were very clear. We were on the same flight coming back from San Antonio that this was a long way from being over. Katie Smith wants the call, doesn't get it. She gets the bucket. We're tied at 38.
She's having a conversation with Clark Stevens, and I'm not sure what it's about. Now Katie Smith is back on Ruth Riley. Okay, what does it say about a two-guard who's checking a 6'5" center?
She goes from checking Becky Hammond half the time to now checking Ruth Riley. No bucket, but the foul on McWilliams-Franklin.
Katie, big shot Smith. She's going to become like Robert Horry if she just keeps draining jump shot after jump shot in big moments. And then, yeah, okay, so you know what she's saying to Clark Stevens? She's hitting me in my midsection. Pay attention to that. Should be an N1.
Yeah, hit the big shots down the stretch after San Antonio had made their run and had taken the lead in the second half, game 2. Cheer on the Shock and Silver Stars in style. Celebrate their winning seasons now at WNBAstore.com, where you can find jerseys, hats, and even your own iDesign t-shirt. WNBAstore.com. One store, every team.
Now I know where I can get that shooting shirt.
Yeah, see? You're looking for the freebie. You're not going to get one. You
I know
gotta
I'm not
online.
getting one. I'm going to go buy it. And if you're Bill Laimbeer, he's remarkably quiet given the disparity in fouls. Detroit has 15 personal fouls called against him. San Antonio has 5.
Dig on old post! Dig on old post!
3 team fouls on Detroit this quarter. San Antonio with none. Busher back in to guard Smith, or try at least. She was hit again, this time out of bounds. San Antonio ball. Bill Laimbeer might not be quiet anymore. No word yet.
Wow. Now, a moment ago, you heard his audio mic say, dig on all posts. That was a defensive strategy. They're looking for some assistance on the box.
Shot clock at 5. Does Busher see it? And she palmed it, carried it. She really had nowhere to go. She found herself in an area and she didn't know what to do.
That offensive sequence is going nowhere. That's when Vicki Johnson or Becky Hammond should come get the ball and make a decisive call and plays.
Lynette Pearson back on the floor along with Kara Braxton, Taj McWilliams-Franklin, Katie Smith, and Deanna Nolan. Erin Busher, Ruth Riley, Sophia Young, Vicki Johnson, and Becky Hammond for San Antonio. Braxton one-on-one, the foul on Riley.
Wow. Now I'd be up and Dan Hughes is saying, hey, 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 look at me. What the heck was that?
You don't agree?
No, that's not a foul. Come on, and I'm going to tell you this. And I need to just say, I hope I'm not jinxing us here. I think the officials in the first 2 games, we didn't talk about them, and that's a good thing. And we haven't talked about them through the first half of this one. So terrific job. And I hope to goodness I just didn't jinx
Until now, Doris opens her mouth. Second foul on Riley. McWilliams-Franklin as Hammond came out to check her. Nolan high into the air. Taj to the bucket hard, to the free throw line. Count the bucket.
Dan wants to travel. I didn't think it's a travel. She takes long strides. Those sort of European strides. And I'll tell you, I thought Candace Parker was a player in the league with the best left hand. I'll tell you what, Taj finishes with that left hand pretty well.
European strides.
European strides.
Wow.
You know what I mean by that? Long, long strides. Jeff Van Gundy was talking about Manu Ginobili and that 2-step departure.
Taj to the free throw line. Here in the Detroit area. A number of the guys checked out the Michigan-Illinois game just down the road in Ann Arbor yesterday. 40-39 Detroit, even though they haven't had their A game today, including Deanna Nolan, but they're turning it on here in the second half.
They've shot 34%, but when you're as physically gifted as Deanna Nolan, you can help your team get the lead. She's got 9 points, Terry. One of the most physically gifted players you will see. Her jump shot is pure. She's more than capable of passing out the basketball. She was in the top 5 in assists for long stretches of this season. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals to go along with those 9 points.
There are the numbers. And if you're Dan Hughes right now, you're beginning to wonder, are we good enough to beat this team? Or maybe I'm just putting thoughts in his head, but I'm thinking that. The fact is that his team has played very well here in Game 3, and yet you look up and they trail by 1.
I agree. I feel like Bill Laimbeer's team, not only has physically outplayed San Antonio, but they've dominated this series physically and mentally.
Heather, what'd you hear in the huddle?
Well, Dan Hughes' message to his San Antonio team is hang in there. He said right now it's all about the rebounds. It's imperative that we clean up on the boards. Right now being out-rebounded 25-20. They also spent a lot of time talking to Erin Busher, not only Dan Hughes, but also Becky Hammond. Both of them telling don't overthink, get out of your own way. Right now they need some good defense and some boards out of Erin Busher.
Yeah, 17 second chance points for Detroit. Don't think, don't hesitate, play, react.
Do you think you can correct that in game, though, Terry?
Difficult. There's Waters, and they set that up in the timeout. It's difficult. You can only change so much at this point. You can make little adjustments in series, and coaches very much do, but that's tough to change. Pearson with the walking violation. And we check out our fanhouse.com stat track. The numbers, 34% for the Shock, and yet they were tied up at 41. Neither team red hot beyond the arc today. There's the difference in fouls you were mentioning. Young wants it. Pearson doing a nice job on the block. Waters can shoot this. Yep, that's a deuce. Foot on the line, but Ann can bring you away from the basket.
That was exactly what I was thinking, because even if she missed that, her team had Braxton away from the rim and were in position, or would have been in position, to offensive rebound it.
And with 12 in the game, she had 16 in game 1, 13 in game 2. Excuse me, Doris.
I'm sorry, Terry. San Antonio switches to his own and right away get a turnover. I feel like you've got to have more than a 2 or 4 point edge going into the fourth period if you're San Antonio.
There's the switch, and again to the corner. Darling, good recovery by Nolan. 4 on the shot clock. Walking violation on Helen Darling.
That, folks, is Lynette Pearson at her best right in that circumstance. She cut off the drive of Becky Hammond. She recovered to her man.
Hands on a screener outside the box. Okay.
He's saying that they've got hands on the screeners, but Lynette Pearson just worked her backside off in that defensive series.
You like the zone from San Antonio?
Well, they got a turnover. Let's see. I mean, sometimes the coach, you just give it a look.
3 seconds.
No, I was going to say, is this an offensive foul?
No, offensive foul. No, 3 seconds. That was it.
Okay.
A couple of different signs from the official, but it was 2-1. He gave 2 3-second violation calls, so we'll go with that one. Hammond gets a step. Smith came over, and that's what's been so tough for Becky Hammond. You're not only dealing with Deanna Nolan or Smith, you're dealing with both, and the help from Detroit.
Great defensive teams are aware when a person who's on the bounce gets inside the lane, there has to be rotation.
9 on the shot clock. Waters flipping that screen. Braxton the board. Not much in transition in this half for either team. Tough shot. Waters, the defense. Tied up. We're going to jump it. The defense ruling right now.
That's a tough thing for Lynette Pearson, where her challenge is undersized. She uses her quickness to be effective, but you're not going to shoot over 6'4".
Detroit gets a little smaller as Pearson goes to the bench. Alexis Hornbuckle in.
Well, you know what? They're managing her. I think they're trying to manage her pain. She gave him good minutes, but he's going to sit her down.
She's got a torn labrum. I mean, it's the pain just lifting your arm up, and she tests herself in the locker room before every game to see if she can go.
She was so courageous in the New York series. And quite frankly, if she doesn't play, they don't win.
Braxton to help defensively. Back to the zone again. Nolan over that zone. Yep, got a cheat out on her.
Great execution. You stay spaced, and if you're Hornbuckle, who's played the point guard in her tenure as a basketball player, a dribble to get the appropriate angle to make that pass. You make that kind of pass against a zone, Terry, it's too stretched for you to defend.
Make them work side to side. It's tough to recover. Backdoor cut, Hammond. Hornbuckle took it right away from her.
Why'd she lead the league in steals? Great anticipation.
Behind her back, again Nolan. Same spot, different result. Crowd was ready to explode. Darling. Ooh, way off. They don't reset the shot clock.
I don't think it touched the arm.
Yep, came close, didn't touch. Young, blocked by Taj. Over Nolan, Sophia stayed with it. Back and forth we go as we approach the fourth. Hornbuckle over Darling. Didn't find the seam, but still had enough space to knock it down.
If you're San Antonio, do you not have to get after it on every possession and play like your life depends on it? Does it feel like that? I mean, they're playing better, but are they desperate?
But you know what? It always is. It's the finals, and they're down 2 games to none. I mean, they're fighting for their lives. 5 on the clock.
Busher looks up. She's got to go. In the contact, Braxton bailed her out.
Big time bailout.
2 seconds left on the shot clock.
San Antonio goes zone a couple possessions. The dribble to draw the defense and get the angle on the pass, and boom, another possession against the zone. They never swung the ball, but Hornbuckle, who's opportunistic, doesn't take a ton of shots, but makes them count when she does.
And that was a 3. Kara Braxton to the bench with the foul. That's the 4th team foul on Detroit. Riley lost it. It'll stay here. 5 on the clock.
What was that?
He got tipped out, I guess. It was hard to see, wasn't it? So 5 on the shot clock. Here's Johnson. Didn't need to rush it that much. Foul on Darling. So Helen picks up the foul with the reach. That's her first. And the team's 3rd. Hammond the rest.
Nolan and Taj.
See what Detroit has without a shot clock here.
Deanna's not sure because Bill said Nolan and Taj, but she's looking like, what the heck am I doing?
She's still shaking her head. There she goes baseline. And it's Katie and Taj. Smith hard to the rack. Got it somehow, some way to go. Still a chance for San Antonio. Yeah, and it counts. What a shot to end the 3rd quarter. Vicki Johnson on the run.
Well, the plays matter. Every possession matters. Vicki at one point looked up. Do I have enough time for enough dribbles? Guess what? Beyond the arc, the 3. Ooh.
Just. I mean, they'll go take a look at that. I think it should count. But it was very close. We'll see. See if they come back with what answer as we head to the 4th.
Once again, the foul discrepancy. We can't get in a penalty. We haven't been in a penalty for 1 quarter the entire series.
How do you overcome that with your team, though, and not feel like, that it's us against the world?
Well, we have to play through it. We're right there. We played poorly. They got all the calls, and we're still up by 1. We just have to play through it.
All right, thanks, Coach.
So we head to the 4th here in Game 3 of the WNBA Finals. Presented by Adidas. We'll go back to that shot, and guess what? They have disallowed it. She did not get it off in time, so they take it away.
It's the correct call. I thought it was on her hand before that thing hit 0. And I think it's the right call. It was very close. They took their time, but I think in the end they got that call right.
So it is a 49-45 game as we head to the 4th. They already printed up the stat sheet, 49-48. And we head to the 4th. Nolan gets it from Smith, in and out. And Johnson the rebound. But if you're Dan Hughes, you're going to the 4th thinking you're down by 1 and it's taken away. Alexis Hornbuckle picks up the foul, her first, and the team's first. What do you think about this discrepancy in the fouls?
Well, I don't think Detroit's post players have demanded calls on the box. I don't think they've forced the officials to blow their whistle. I've been on that all game with Kara Braxton.
Sophia Young, a tough shot over Lynette Pearson, who starts here in the 4th quarter for Bill Lambier. Pearson, Smith, McWilliams, Franklin, Nolan, and Hornbuckle on the floor for Detroit. Pearson answers at the other end.
It'll be interesting to see how long she plays, Kerry, because generally speaking, in crunch time moments, she's on the floor. It really will be dictated by how effective she is because of that torn labrum in her shoulder.
2 bigs, Ann Waters and Ruth Riley starting the 4th for Dan Hughes, along with Becky Hammond, Vicki Johnson, and Sophia Young. Hammond's got to take charge a little bit, don't you think?
5 shots she's taken. She's gotten better support, but they've still done a good job limiting her. Look at Katie guarding Ruth Riley. How about that? How about that defense?
Pearson lost it out of bounds.
Katie Smith is the MVP of this series to this point. Today, she's had to guard Ann Waters, Ruth Riley, and Sophia Young at 6'5". Look at her. Challenge, challenge. contest.
In fact, she might be the MVP on her numbers alone,
Yes.
but without even thinking about all the other things she does.
The leadership, the intangibles, her versatility defensively.
Young right around Pearson. Shock looking to run. One-on-one, Waters on McWilliams-Franklin. There's the help and the block. Hornbuckle, Pearson, and the reach-in foul on Ruth Riley.
Now that one on Taj I thought could have been a foul. And look at Bill saying, hey, he's pointing to the middle of the floor going, come on, give me a break here.
It's the 4th foul on Ruth Riley. You heard Dan Hughes realize that on the sideline.
She's giving her a little push, I don't know, body maybe. But if you call that one, then you would have had to call the one on Katie and Ruth, and they didn't.
Absolutely.
On the opposite end.
So
hey,
they're consistent.
That's exactly right.
Riley guarding Smith. Play the inside-outside game. Nolan. Boy, Smith just matched up. She found Becky Hammond on the break and almost face guarded her.
And they can switch all that outside. 3 seconds. You got to move before they raise the parking rate over there.
By the letter of the law, it was 3 seconds.
You don't like the call.
Not when you're attacking.
Yeah, when you get in your move.
Neither team has led by more than 6 points. Detroit's largest lead has been 4. And that's it right now. Whistle away from the ball. And the blocking foul on Ruth Riley. So that is the 5th on Riley. And we've got 7 minutes and 43 seconds left. Aaron Busher comes off the bench.
You are 7 minutes and 43 seconds away from your 3rd championship if you're Detroit. 4 finals in 6 years. Do you add to what has been a period of excellence?
Smith's going to get the call and go to the free throw line. Aaron Busher just came off the bench and committed her 2nd foul. So Katie Smith, an 89% free throw shooter, trying to make it a 6-point lead. And Smith just keeps going and going. Veteran for many years, you mentioned it, the all-time leading scorer in the history of women's professional basketball in this country. Reminder, this is your last chance to vote for tonight's Player of the Game, presented by NBA Live 09. Text the last name of your choice for the Player of the Game to 71310 from any wireless phone. Get your votes in before the winner is announced. And standard rates apply.
Think about this. July 22nd was the fight between Detroit and Los Angeles. They had lost 5 straight, were in complete disarray, and are 7 minutes and 33 seconds away from championship number 3.
Won the East once again, 3rd straight year in the finals, and trying to close it out, but a lot of time left here. Coaches know that.
What about Ruth Riley? She's on fire.
Got a Nolan for 3.
Can you say MVP?
Wins its 2nd WNBA championship.
And now Detroit just 7.5 minutes away perhaps from its 3rd title in the last 6 years, Doris. Pretty amazing what they've accomplished. And Bill Laimbeer, you heard it in that last huddle going to break. The fact is, he said, we are the Detroit Shock. This is what we do. He has built that type of thinking here in the Motor City.
Well, Bill Davidson, the owner, the Hall of Famer, was about to fold the Detroit Shock franchise until he took over. He put it into the hands of a 2-time NBA champion. They were looking for the same kind of excellence, and he has delivered.
He's built an identity in Detroit within the WNBA. I mean, this is a team that certainly believes that it can beat anyone on any night. If you're San Antonio now, you've got 7 minutes, 26 seconds left. The only player to score in the last 6.5 minutes for them, Sophia Young with 4.
Wow.
Tough shot. And 1 and done. So this could be it, the elimination game. Down 2 games to none. San Antonio needing to win this to force a game 4.
Good defense by Vicki Johnson.
McWilliams Franklin to that left hand you talked about. You can't stop that.
Hard to contend with a post player who's got as good a use with the weak hand as the strong hand.
Inside out to Busher, way off.
So you cannot rebuild a player's confidence in the middle of a series, especially not when you're down 0-2. And that's at the point they're at with Erin Busher on the offensive end. Not here. She's fine here. It's the offensive end.
Smith. Back up. Nolan high into the air for the rebound.
It's about possessions right now. It is about possessions. They are rebounding the offensive end, their misses at about 45%. Almost half their misses.
Where did she come from?
Oh, it's ridiculous. Look at that jumper.
Foul on Vicki Johnson as Quinette Pearson goes down hard with that shoulder. Slow to get up.
You're looking at one tough cookie right there. They do not win the New York series unless she plays through extraordinary pain and performs at a high level. It's the right-hand side of your floor right there.
Jarring it as she came down. 15 offensive rebounds for Detroit in this game.
Versus New York. 6 points, only 15 minutes because of pain.
The Shock with their largest lead of the game.
Ooh, that's a foul.
Yep, the hand check on Waters. Her second.
Right now, you're going to see what kind of pride San Antonio has. You're going to make them feel you or not. You're sitting there, you're down 0-2. Do you want a fourth game? Do you really want to play Detroit again tomorrow? You're going to make a decision right now in the next 6 minutes. Do I feel like continuing on? Show some pride, San Antonio.
15 foul on San Antonio, so they're at the line the rest of the way.
Watch Deanna Nolan pursue this basketball. She knows she's going to go up. The timing, the athleticism. Don't stand flat-footed, San Antonio. Go find somebody. It's hard to check somebody out from that distance because they get ahead of steam. But it's not about missed assignments at this moment.
An 8-0 run. It's a 10-point game, and you're right. We begin to find out right now whether or not San Antonio has anything left in the tank. Waters beyond the arc. One shot, that's it.
Their problem is they are not in fact, they're the worst offensive rebounding team in the league in terms of how many offensive rebounds they get and second chance points. They have not made a shot in this period. 0 for 6.
Man. Pearson contact, no call. Darling was out of bounds when it fell right in her lap. And Detroit more than doubling up San Antonio's rebounds in the second half. Pearson is going to get a rest. Kara Braxton back off the bench.
Good screen there. Oh, that's terrific execution.
Doesn't get any better than that.
That is a closed screen, a double screen that was beautifully executed.
Two-pointer for Smith, who's in double figures now, and a foul at the other end.
If we can see that from over here, oh, look at Quinette Pearson. Oh, she is in some pain. Just a closed screen. Braxton and McWilliams Franklin and well, Cheryl Ford, she's enjoyed every single second.
She has, hasn't she? So's Bill. Fourth foul on Taj McWilliams Franklin and the second team foul on Detroit. So they'll inbound it right in front of the San Antonio bench. Hammond left wide open. Nolan kind of slipped. And Becky can't even, she was nowhere close. He was not even close. Deep corner three. They're starting to dance. That has got to be the best sign I've seen all year. Here on the campus of Eastern Michigan, and Katie Smith leading the run, 13-0 run.
Becky Hammond said Katie Smith is killing us. Yes, she is, and she's done it in all 3 games, 25, 22. She's guarded virtually every post player. Her teammates enjoying it. They can smell another championship.
Last 4.5 minutes absolutely shutting down San Antonio. 62-47. 5 minutes left for title number 3.
Bill Laimbeer said about Katie Smith, her will to win is carrying us.
Don't you get the sense that Katie Smith, if they close it out today, tomorrow she'll be on the playground playing pickup games?
Absolutely. She just has a passion for the game.
Out of bounds, set up to Young. Nope, can't control it. Nolan to Hornbuckle. Marinike Atunrichet off the bench commits the foul. The rookie from Texas A&M. And Dan Hughes' club in danger of being closed out after being the top seed in the West, not losing to an Eastern team all year. They were 14-0 against the East. Don't forget, Monday Night Football comes your way. Great matchup in the backfield. You got Adrian Peterson, Reggie Bush, the Vikings, and the Saints. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern time on Monday Night Countdown, delivered by UPS.
Those are 2 players that you kind of hold your breath. Yeah, they touch the ball, you hold your breath, because something special can happen anytime they touch it.
Hammond struggled. Becky, nope. Waters the follow. They finally get something to go here, and it's a 14-point game. And some pressure up the floor, but they may need more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're conceding, but you got to come with some pressure all out. You got to. Now it's about not only making stops, it's about getting them to make mistakes, because you need possessions.
And everything's free and easy for Detroit on the offensive end. Smith getting anything she wants.
MVP, easy choice.
Waters and the foul. Don't go away yet. And to the line. Alexis Hornbuckle committing her second. And you see the San Antonio bench not giving up quite yet, but this is a team that Dan Hughes has really put together to fit his personality, his mindset, the way he likes a team to come together, and personally picking those who have come to San Antonio.
Sometimes, Terry, you have to lose a championship series before you're ready to win one. But our camera guys have done a terrific job documenting the difference between the benches. Detroit's has stood up for 3 straight games. They are far more actively engaged than San Antonio's.
Hammond almost took it away. Nolan, tough shot. And Waters clears it. So under 4 minutes to go. Deanna Nolan, Katie Smith, franchise that has won 2 WNBA titles, the steal by Smith. And what about the makeup of this team as you look ahead to next year? It's a big change from last year for Bill Laimbeer.
First of all, you're going to get Cheryl Ford. By rebound average, the most dominant rebounder in the history of the league. They're going to be a lot better.
That's a scary thought, isn't it? Braxton the follow. If they close this out to win a title, you think every member of the Washington Mystics organization should get a ring?
Absolutely. They were gracious enough to give them the piece of the puzzle they needed to advance here. They don't get here without Cheryl Ford, without Taj McWilliams-Franklin. Simply don't get here.
Allowed them to pick up Taj McWilliams-Franklin after Ford was injured in August, on August 12th, and it has been one of the keys in this run.
We have likened that trade to the Pau Gasol trade that allowed Los Angeles to advance to the NBA Finals.
And Taj, who just lost it underneath, has told us she's not going anywhere yet. She plans to keep playing at the age of 37, about to turn 38. San Antonio ball.
38 years old. As you saw, her family is from here. She got to take her little daughter Maya to kindergarten this past week up at 6 a.m. Still looks pretty good, despite the lack of sleep.
Waters, Braxton came over to change it. Smith tried to call a timeout, but they'll jump it at this end.
Vicki Johnson, one of 5 active players to be in the league since 1997. Has played more minutes and more games than anyone else. Her third finals appearance, likely her third finals denial. Will she reinvest another year?
Heather, do you have more?
I do indeed. When I asked her for a decision to return to the WNBA next year hinges on whether or not they win a championship this year, she said absolutely. VJ told me if they win, there's a 90% chance she will retire. But if they don't, she said that itch to try one more time might just be too great to say no to.
Johnson with the miss. And how about Becky Hammon going to the finals for the third time, twice with New York, now once with San Antonio, coming up short.
Yeah, Alexis Hornbuckle about to complete a difficult sweep. An NCAA championship and a WNBA championship in the same year.
It's not a bad year. We've talked about Candace Parker and what she's been able to do in 1 year, but for Alexis to double up that way is special.
Hornbuckle is the perfect blender. Doesn't want to take 5,000 shots. Going to play defense.
Nolan after the skip pass. Foul on Waters.
First time since the finals have gone to 5 games, a 5-game series, that a team is able to sweep. So lots of history for Bill Lambier's club.
And that was...
That Detroit bench still standing. I feel like every time I've looked over there, they've stood up, Terry.
The trophy backstage, they'll bring it out, and looks like they're going to hand it to the Shock for the third time under Bill Lambier.
Time for Heather Cox to get a touch-up because she's got the championship ceremony presentation.
Master of ceremonies. Hammond with the miss again. Boy, it has been a difficult series, taking nothing away from Becky Hammond, who commits the foul, but they just have absolutely shut her down, not just today, through the series. Hornbuckle still down on the floor. Only 18 points in this second half for San Antonio. Yeah, with the knee. Becky 1 of 10, just 5 points.
Wow.
1 of 10.
Yeah. And think about this. Yes, she's averaged 18 points. Decent percentage, but let's talk about the reality of this. A lot of her points came when they were scrambling in the fourth period of games. I mean, there was a period in game 1 between the second, third period where she took 1 shot and went scoreless for 19 minutes and 30 seconds. It was absolute physical domination on a 4-time All-Star Becky Hammond.
Yeah, she went the second and third quarters in game 1 where she took 1 shot and missed it.
This one you live with the entire offseason. You just took your lumps if you're San Antonio. Does it help you next season?
Not the way it happened. I mean, it might motivate you, but they have not challenged in this series. Waters inside. You think back to game 1 and came back to tie it up at 69. Remember, with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
But you never really thought Detroit was going to lose it. And in game 2, they were down 19-2 to start the game.
Yeah.
How do you come out that way?
Well, exactly. Especially, Detroit closed game 1 on an 8-0 run. Didn't allow them to score from that point of 2:16 and on down. One of the things Bill Lambier stresses, we understand how hard you have to play, what it takes to compete, and that 1 quarter does not a series make. It is difficult to rattle the Detroit Shock.
Ashley Shields coming in for Deanna Nolan. You get a standing ovation for Tweety. So Nolan did not score more than 12 points in a game in this series, but she gives you so much more than just her numbers.
No question. She was one of the primary defenders on Becky Hammond.
Going to clear the bench. Taj McWilliams Franklin moments away from her very first WNBA title. And Hammond denied again. Look at it. Out of tears. play this long from the time you picked up a basketball as a kid, and then you finally get to that moment, and it's sometimes not what you expected it to be.
All the practices, all the repetitions, all the time away from her two daughters, the time spent overseas toiling to make a living. But here at home, Taj McWilliams-Franklin, 9 years in the league, first-time champion.
$18 points for Katie Smith. She's your MVP. She's my MVP. It's not official yet, but you got to believe.
It's de facto. That is a done deal. If she's not the MVP, something absolutely is wrong. She's the MVP. There's no question.
Shield. Under a minute here in Ypsilanti. See the Shock trying to close it out, not exactly on their home court. Sonny to follow. It's 74-57. And they're on their feet in the Convocation Center. Sandora Irvin off the bench, off to Busher. Aaron finally gets one to go in, and it's almost as if he's saying, yeah, not now.
Congratulations. Back-to-back-to-back Eastern Conference champions. The third time in 6 years that Bill Laimbeer and the Detroit Shock will be the best the WNBA has to offer.
Sonny, another one underneath. 16-point lead. And they count down the final seconds here. Bill Laimbeer, a fist pump over on the sideline, closing it out. Let the dynasty talk begin for the third time. The Detroit Shock, the champs of the WNBA here. They'll have 4.6 to go, but Nolan ready to celebrate. Laimbeer with a smile on his face. And that'll do it. They complete the sweep.